Hey everybody, it's Joy. How are you? It's Monday nights at 9 o'clock p.m. The world is going awry because I can't believe I am actually alive and awake and all those things, but we are starting, so let's see what's going on. I am going to wait until a few people pop on, so if you are here, please say hello. Hello, hello. I'm looking down because I'm bringing up this broadcast onto my phone. So, we are going to be coloring if you couldn't tell from the title, we are going to be coloring a lumberjack. And this lumberjack is pretty cute. He is kind of in the likeness of my husband. And if you kind of my son too, so you get this lumberjack, and then it says, "Damn good day to celebrate," and then "Timber, I've fallen for you," and "Would you be mine?" We've got this cute little beaver, some stack of wood, and rock your axe off. So, I'm a huge fan of Craft Roulette, and their parameters this month was Justine says hello. Hi, Lisa. Lisa says hello. And the best Mrs. Doubtfire. The parameters for Craft Roulette were a slimline card in the colors of a lumberjack, which I took it literal because I'm going to use a lumberjack, to use a doily, and to use caps. So it could be a hat, it could be a cap of some sort. I put in mountains with snow caps. So I think that that's going to meet all of the requirements. So I pre-made my card here just for the sake of time. So let's get into this lumberjack. Normally when I color any type of person, I usually go in with, how do I want to say this? I usually start with the face and then the eyes, but I want to do a technique. I want to put some texture on his clothing, so I am going to have to use my glasses so that I can see this correctly. So when I color, I typically take both caps off, and my favorite khaki color is an E8, 81 through 89. A lot of the times I don't even use the 81. So I go in and I put my shadows in, and his hand is going to cause a shadow, and then his male parts are also going to cause, or his belly, we're going to cause a shadow, and we're going to do it as if the light's kind of hitting from the right hand side. So he's going to have a lot of shadow here on this left leg. And then this cuff is also going to put a shadow all the way across. And then we've got some indentations where the knee would be and where some of the artist drawn lines are. Let's see what else we have going on here. I want to make sure I'm not missing any comments. And it looks like Rocket, which I'm assuming might be Dale, that might be Dale. He's in here. And I'm just going in, putting in the shadows. There's going to be a shadow around the buttons. There's going to be a shadow here at the, what are those called, suspenders. And I'm also going to make this one dark area where the suspender, like where the cloth goes in between the suspenders. And I'm also going to do one kind of under the pocket. So that was my darkest color. And since my light source is coming this way from the right, there's going to be shadow along the pants, along the apron part of the pants. All right, now I'm going to come in with the E87, and we're going to kind of emphasize those shadows, and that's with my E87. So I'm going in kind of thick on this left hand side. I'm going to continue to emphasize the wrinkles. And I'm going to put one slightly above that first shadow, and then I'm going to extend it down. And I'm going down the left-hand side of, I guess I'm calling it his right leg, but it's really his left if you're being anatomically correct at this point. Now, I told you that the E81 is my highlight color. I most likely will not use much of it, so this E84 is, or E87 is going to be my first mid-tone color. So you're going to see kind of a lot of it, more so than you would if I was using like a 5-color blend. Now this stamp set is available as a stamp and die bundle, and stamp and die bundles are like 20% off. It's already built into the cost, but you get, so when you get the package, the die is in the same package as the stamp. So it's behind the stamp in the package. But it's a pretty good deal. You automatically get a savings built in there. And if you're one of the people that like dies, then you should definitely take advantage of that, because our dies are not sold separately anymore. And I'm just kind of feathering these in. I'm probably going a little bit slower than I normally would because I'm talking. Okay, let's see what else we've got going on. I want to make sure I'm not missing any comments. And I'm going to build in a little bit of a shadow going in here in the pocket. And you notice I left a little bit of that white space, and because I want there to be a differentiation between the pocket and like in the pant. So there's going to be like a bounce, I call it like a bounce back light. Now I'm going to move on to my E84. Now this is my main color, my mid-tone color. And we're going to put a slight highlight in there with that E81, but not much. So don't get like super excited, because you're going to see most of the color kind of come to life here. And I'm just making sure to scrub over those darker lines so we get a good blend. And now you're going to start to see me kind of blend this out. So the other day I was watching an influencer who totally influenced me into buying a pair of pants. Do you remember the pants like when in the late 90s, early 2000s? They had like the multiple, it was from Express, that had like the big flies, like the butterfly fold over, and they had the multiple buttons. Well, these actually had the multiple buttons. It didn't have a lot of the, it didn't have any of the fold over, but this is a high-waisted jean. It was probably the best purchase I have made this year. They fit like a glove, but they were highly distressed, and that's why I'm talking about them at this point. They had a lot of holes in them and a lot of rips. Now, I'm not doing rips on these, but we are going to put texture in there, and that's why I'm talking about the distress. So with these Copics, they can be layered, as you pretty much know about any alcohol marker. So that's why I'm being a little bit strategic, because the parts with this E84 that I need to go over multiple times to kind of darken it, I'm doing that. And then when I'm finally happy with the blend, I forgot this cuff down here a little bit, so we're gonna kind of feather that in a little bit, leave some wrinkles in there. Then I'll wash over this. But before I do that, I am going to bring in this E81. Now, you guys are seeing me use the Copic marker stand. We do carry those in white, black, teal, and purple. And those are available in the shop if you're interested in it. So if you like make videos and stuff, it's a good way to display your caps. But of course, you can always do that. Now, do you see how like really light that is? I'm not loving that color. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do some tip to tip. So I'm taking my lightest color, which is the E81, and I'm just picking that up on the tip. and I'm feathering that in. And you can pick up that color as much as you want. It doesn't hurt your marker. And we're going to leave that, we're going to call that done. So I'm going to make sure I put my E81 cap back onto my E81 marker and my E84. That's the biggest issue you have when you're doing tip to tip. So we've got a pretty good blend there. Can everybody see that well? Kind of give me a thumbs up if that's a yay or a nay. Alright, so I had mentioned that I wanted to give these some texture. So I'm thinking like Carhartts. We are really embracing the LumberJack, okay? So this is just I can't believe I'm doing this. This is my kitchen towel. But it was the first one I found in the laundry, or in my linen closet. So I'm just folding that over just to make a small square, and I'm using the Various Ink Colorless Blender by Copic. You could also use 91% alcohol. Mine has a bingo dauber on it. Let's make sure I have the lid off. Yep. I wanted to make sure this inner lid was off, and it is not, so you're going to see me use my teeth, which is going to be disgusting. Ugh. Ugh. I should have checked that before I went live. That's the beauty of lives though, right? Am I right? I keep this inner lid on so that it doesn't evaporate, because obviously it is alcohol. So back to the square, and I've got the dauber back on, and I'm just wetting that down like that. And then I'm going to take my finger and kind of rough it back up since I pushed it down. And I'm going to go 1, 2, 3. And I'm going to lift up. 1, 2, 3. And back up. And we're going to do it one more time. 1, 2, 3. Back up. And what that does is you get a mottled kind of like a corduroy or Carhartt distressing. And the reason I did not color the shirt or the skin or anything else is, as you know, Copic blending solution it's a colorless blender, so it's going to bleach everything out. So if that had spilled onto my other colors, then I would have had a bleeding mess. So I'm going to make sure this is nice and dry. And how do I do that? First, I kind of, wave it in the air, make sure it's dry, and then you'll know, because it's no longer wet looking, like you'll see a shine. And so we're pretty dry. We can go on and move on from there. So now, I said I went out of order from what I normally do. I usually do the skin first, and then I do the eyes and hair. So we're going to do the skin because it really messes with me when I have a soulless creature on screen. So the key to skin tones is, with any Copic coloring, it's called the Scary Dark. I learned that from Courtney Kraber. I don't think she colors online anymore, but it's the contrast between the highlight and the shadow color. So if you get those colors in there, then you're not going to have this pasty, ghosty looking friend, So that's really important that we do that. So I use a color called EO4, which is called Lipstick Natural. It's totally not a lipstick natural, but that's what it's called. You can also use like an RV94. Some people use an E13 interchangeably. And then if you want to go, you could do all kinds of skin tones. And if you're interested in hearing other skin tones besides Caucasian, let me know in the comments so we can do this again with another skin tone. So where his hair is coming over the forehead, there's going to be a shadow. So I'm using that EO4, and I'm following the contour of the artist, which in this case is Sandy with Voodoo Designs. my bird is going crazy down there, and my husband happens to be home. So you're probably hearing him yell at her because he doesn't want to ruin my life. But she's a very well-loved bird, very well taken care of. And the reason she's screaming is because I gave her a lot of attention today. And she wants to be with her mama. Because once you give her a little bit of attention, they're like 2-year-olds. They want to keep on. They want to keep on keeping on. So he's going to have... I'm going to do like a shadow where that lip is too. And technically speaking, there would be a shadow all around where this beard would be. And we can put that in as we see fit. But I think we're going to leave him alone for right now. I'm going to maybe put a little bit of a shadow there. And that will bleach out. Now I'm going to move on to my next darkest color. Now, typically, you would think that the E21 would be darker than the E11. And in my case, my markers are not. So I'm going to show you that. Here's my E11. And here's my E21. So this has a little bit more of, the E21 has a little bit more yellow in it, but as that dries back, that E11 is a little bit darker. It's really hard to see on camera, but it definitely is. All right. Putting that back aside, I'm going to get out the E11. So now I'm going to, again, follow the hairline. And I'm going over the E04 and I'm extending it slightly. So he won't have much of a cheek, but if you know anything about lumberjacks being out in the cold, they kind of get that red, ruddy look to them. So I'm making sure to go in more than I can. And when you think of like the contour on your face, like if you like do makeup, I'm kind of coming in a little bit underneath the eye. So he's got the corner of his eye, but you need to leave some white under the eye because the artist didn't like do a full eyeball on that. She just did the iris and like hints of the shape of the eye. So it kind of gives you, the card maker, the permission to color him how you want. The only thing that I don't recommend, and it really makes me, this is my biggest pet peeve, is I don't like it when we leave eyes white because the eyes are the soul, or the window to the soul. So to me, leaving eyes white is scary. It'd be great for Halloween. Let's see. Now I'm coming in with that E21 and I'm blending underneath that eyebrow where that E04 was because I did such a little amount. And now I'm just kind of painting in so that we get closer to the center of the face. And I'm making sure to follow that line under the eye. So he's got a little bit of white space. You don't have to do a lot. And there would be just a hair. It's easier to go wide and then come in because otherwise you'll have to use your colorless blender and remove some of the ink. So I always say leave a wider spot than needed and then you can slowly creep in. And now I'm using my E00. And I'm going to go in with my E000 just to give a nice swipe of color all the way across, leaving the white spots of the eye, but I'm coloring, making sure the eyelids are in and everything is blended. Now, I forgot to do his lip. So let's go back with the E21. And even though I said that this lipstick color really is not a good lip color, there's going to be a lot of shadow there. So I am going in with that darkest color. So there we go. We've got a really nice blend. Now, a ruddy skin tone would have, we're going to, like he's outside. So normally I would not go with an R21 for a guy, because who wants a rosy cheek guy? I mean, if you do, you do, but it's not natural. But for a lumberjack, because he's outside in the cold working, either that or else he's sunburned, depending on, what the weather is and what time of year. He's going to have some of that. So I actually take that R21, excuse me, and I kind of bring it all the way down and even up towards the forehead a little bit. And if that needs to be toned down, you can go in with that E00 and blend it out just a hair. So you're going to put a little bit of that peachy yellowish color back in. And then that's his face. Looks way better. I don't know if I'm losing you guys in the chat. I would love to know that. Anyway, the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to color in the eyes. So let's go back to the card. Where did I put that? It had a lot of greens and it had a lot of browns in it. And I have no idea where I threw it. It's in a very special place right now. I seem to do that every time I'm live. Yeah, I don't know where I threw him. He's very special, but the paper has greens and reds and browns in it. So, as soon as I stop looking, I'm going to remember where I threw him. Like, it's all within a 2-foot space right here. I don't know how I miss him. Or how they always come up missing. But we're just going to move on. It's a plaid, because our color is, because our colors are lumberjack. Man, I'm so mad at myself. Oh, here it is. Ha! So with that said, we've got a lot of greens, a lot of browns. I even use some craft, and I use these little trees in the mountains. So I think that maybe we should go with I want to say a brown eye, but yeah, but we're going to have a lot of brown, and I'm going to do his hair brown. Let's do blue. I wasn't going to do that. I wanted to do something different, but sometimes you just have to, again, we just have to wing it. So I'm going to use a B04 and a B99 and a B97. So my lightest colors can be extremely vibrant, almost like a turquoise. And I'm coloring that entire eye blue. So next to the pupil, I'm going to come underneath the eyelid and go across the pupil with the B99. So that's really dark. It almost looks like I'm giving him a black eye. Okay, looks a little scary, and it's meant to. And then from there, I'm going to use that B97. And I come back down with it. And then I'm coming back around with that B04. So with that, I like to take a pencil, a mechanical pencil, because it's a very fine line, and I like to, this hair of mine's driving me nuts, extend out that corner of his eye a little bit. So I'm going over it. So you're kind of giving him a little bit of a tear duct. Okay. Now he still looks a little freaky. Now he looks kind of like black eyes. But we're going to come in with a white gel pen when we're done. You know, it just occurred to me. I'm all over the place today. We should have done all of the skin at one time. So let's get our skin tones back. The R2, EO4, E04, E11, E21, E00. And let's get the skin done. Let's just get it done. So he's got some, let's see here. He's got some skin showing underneath the jaw. So we're going to put in a nice cast shadow, and there's a little bit under the like by the neck here. So we're going to put that in there. We're going to go across here where this sleeve is. We're going to come down the left-hand side of the arm. We're going to put in a little bit of a indentation where the wrist is, the bottom of this hand, and we're going to go where the fingers are. And if you lose some of it, it's fine. We're going to do the same thing here. He's got his hand is curled here and kind of cocked back, so there's a shadow on each side of his finger. And where the axe handle is. So that's the EO4. Alright. Sorry about that. I usually would have done all EO4, all the same colors all at one time, and I'm a little scatterbrained. So now I'm coming in with this E11, maybe. And again, these Copic marker stands are in the shop. I am coloring on our marshmallow coloring paper. It's I believe 100-pound, very smooth. It's great for foiling, so it kind of does double duty. And that's available in 8.5 by 11, and also in 4 1/4 by 5.5, already cut for you if you like those card panel size. So now this E11, I'm kind of putting in some muscles a little bit by doing some indentations. I'm following the shadows that we already put in, and I'm just contouring him a little bit, because I would imagine he would have a little bit more muscle than, like, I don't know, a college student who's studying to be a doctor at the time or something, you know what I mean? Like, they're busy in their books. This guy's swinging an axe and doing all kinds of crazy stuff. Or woman, but this guy's definitely a guy. This is a manly guy. No two ways about it on this one. But I am sure that there are female, I don't know, would it be called a lumberjack? I don't know. I don't know what you would call it, but I'm getting myself in trouble, I'm sure. Anyway, it's not to say that men or women couldn't do this, but this guy is definitely a guy. And then we're going to, so I used that EO4 underneath the neck. Since it was so small, I used that EO4 and the E00, and I called it done. So basically I pushed the shadow back into the collar, and now I'm using that E00, and I'm just scrubbing that to get a good blend. And I'm calling that done. See how he's starting to come to life? Justine is saying it's looking good, loving it, and Michelle, Lisa is multitasking. Have I ever seen my friend Lisa not multitask? All right. So the paper that I used, again, had a red pinstripe in it, and I did this cool, like, speech bubble in red, and I did the heart because I want this to be a Valentine. So we're going to go with a red shirt. And I'm going to use an E59 I'm trying to make up my mind. Let's get our scratch piece of paper out again, because we're going to test our colors. So I'm doing an E35, which will be my highlight color. See how red that is? Kind of a pinkish red. And that's because I'm going for a maroon. And then I'm going to go with an E37. An E56, we're going to see how that blends. Yep, I like that. I know that it's not exactly the same tone, but we're going to be able to take that red, that orangish red, and kind of tone it down. And then we're going to use that as our shadow color. I think that turns out really good. I know it looks a little like, but it's going to be fine. I promise it's going to be good. That speech bubble is cute. I think it was from Photo Play. I got it at Scrapbook Expo a couple years ago. So I don't know if that's still available, but I haven't used it yet. And just like everybody else, I've decided that I am going to use a few things from my stash this year, because I had a revelation. I am a collector of things, and I want all the new things just like everybody else, but I also want to give some love to my current stuff. I'm taking my second cap off because I did recently refill my R59, and it was starting to get a little juicy. So under the neck there would be a shadow, real fine. And then under the collar and along the seam line. And there's also going to be a shadow where that buckle is. So lots of shadows. And then where the shirt gathers on this other side, there's going to be a shadow. There's definitely a shadow here. And then we're going to have a shadow where the arm is next to the pants or the overalls. And now I'm kind of following the artist drawn lines for the contour. And then this whole area under the arm would have a large shadow too. Okay? Lots of shadows. And again, using your darkest color is what's going to give you the most contrast, and it's going to make your stuff look like it's coming alive. So this is my R56. Taking both lids off. Although I have to admit, it looks like my R56 is a little bit drier than my 5.9, but I live in a pretty humid area typically, so it's just good practice to take both lids off. If you do any type of traveling, you definitely need to take both lids off if you get off of an airplane. Otherwise, it's going to be disastrous. Ask me how I know. But I feel like sometimes I'm like the queen of fixing mistakes too, because I've had lots of practice. Now when I color with my Olos, I get lots of burping, and ironically I have learned how to fix a lot of mistakes with my colorless blender because of my Olos. So even though I have not gotten great with those, they've given me a lot of practice on how to fix stuff. And you know, it's great to take a lot of classes. I recommend taking a lot of classes or retreats. But doing stuff, you know, on a regular basis is where you're going to learn how to fix your mistakes and how to learn your markers. Now we're coming in with our first mid-tone, which is the R37. Do you see how that instantly brightens that up? Pretty cool how that does that. That's exactly what I was looking for, was that bright LumberJack red. But having that scary, scary dark is what got us there. And I'm just using my brush tip, and I'm just feathering these in. so that we get lots of movement and wrinkles in the shirt. Now I'm coming in with my last color, which is the R35. And I'm just going over those colors and brightening everything up. You guys, I got my hair cut yesterday and they took like 2 inches off, but I'm still in that terrible in between space with my bangs. And I normally like take a clip and I clip them back, but I thought, no, we're not gonna do that. We're gonna be fine. We're not fine. But it's fine. I mean, it's not fine for me, but it's just something I'm complaining about now. So for these buttons and this buckle, I'm going to use a YR24. I'm not even sure that that's the right color, but that's what we're going to do tonight. And the reason I did that is because the khaki color is so close to like the Y26 and the 28 that it's not gonna read gold. So I'm just adding a little bit of the Y28 in there. And we're gonna come in with a white gel pen and give sparkles where needed. And I forgot his little collar right here. So there we go. Practicing right now with Copics. That's awesome, Justine. I think every day, I mean, when I first bought these things, I could not afford them, let's be real. And I like the thought of spending, at the time when I bought them, they were like $7.99, $9.99 a piece. You couldn't get them for the $5.85 that you can from other places now. And it really, like, I'm a whole set syndrome girl. And man, it was killing me not to have them all. And I couldn't go slow in buying them, so in a matter of like 6 months I had them all. And I was very lucky. I got mine on clearance, some of them from Hobby Lobby. That's why I was able to get them so fast. But once I spent the money on them, I was determined that I was going to keep these suckers, and they were going to be like my best friends. All right, so I am going to take both lids off. I'm using an E39 through a 3-1 for the hair. I'm not sure that I'm going to use them all, but I'm going to kind of flick in some of these darker colors. And if you're heavy-handed like I am, a lot of times you can start by using your mid-tone first. I am totally winging it right now, you guys. Completely winging it. So I'm kind of like flicking these down. I forgot his ear. I always forget ears. I'm a mess. Tell me in the comments, do you guys ever forget ears? Like, you get to them, you're like, oh, there's an ear there. I don't know why I have such a hard time remembering the ear. Oh, by the way, Joy, I went from 5 containers of small ink cubes to 2 of the trays and freed entire shelf. Yay! Lisa is decluttering and reorganizing her craft room / dining room / I don't know, everything room. And we've been talking about it a lot. We actually, both of us went to Five Below and we found some like really nice storage containers. I know that she ordered some more on Amazon today. I feel like I have more containers than I know what to do with. I probably just need to get rid of stuff. But anyway, she is organizing and I'm so proud of her. I always love the first of the year because everybody's like in there. We're going to do this year different. This is going to be so good. I mean, everybody's like so gung-ho to start the new year and have all the goals, and I'm all about it, like all about it. So I'm really defining where that beard is, the mustache is versus the beard. So I kind of went with a kind of a pretty thick line, but you wouldn't have to do that. It's just what I chose to do. Yeah, sometimes do as I say, not as I do. I don't know. Do y'all ever make like noises as you're coloring, like psh, psh. I don't know where that comes from sometimes. It just kind of happens. And you guys get to see it real time. Now I'm going to give his little eyebrow just a little bit of that dark color. I'm done. I don't know what I'm doing all the sound effects for. I'm just silly. Now I'm using the E37, taking both lids off because I'd be very mad if it decided to like burp at this point. So now I'm trying to go in between those lines that I already did, and I'm just coloring them in. Kind of think of like a smile. You know what I mean? You kind of want to leave white space to look like a smile. In some places, if you're not able to get like all 3, 4, 5 colors in, you just do the best you can. You just kind of want all your little lines to go the same direction. And you just do what you can do. Because this is just paper and ink, and at the end of the day, it's just supposed to be our therapy. 25 is Lisa's year to reclaim and organize. She said she's going to reorganize her entire house, you guys. I hope that means that she doesn't stop talking to me on the phone like 24/7, because I'll be very, very sad. But what I've noticed about my friend is she's very good at multitasking and is able to drown me out and still talk to me at the same time and do her work. It's amazing. So I did that E39. Now I'm using the E35 in the eyebrows, and I'm calling the eyebrows done. And I'm just flicking in some of this color. And I think I'm going to use the E31. I'm going to skip that E33. And I'm going to color in. I'm taking both lids off still. And I'm just coloring in some of those areas that are still a little bit white, but leaving some. I'm not going to leave a whole lot of white in the beard, but up in the hair, I did, because I want him to look like some sun's in there shining in. Now we got to go back and do those darn ears. You guys, you're supposed to yell at me when I do crazy things. E04 on the insides, because they're in shadow. Let's do E21 and E00. And I skipped that E11 because it's such a small little spot. And our ears aren't going to be like super dark or anything. All right. I have a whole pile of markers here, and it's crazy. So Lisa's right. She was folding her laundry and talking to me while on the phone. That is the fact. All right. We are going to use C7, 5, 3, and 1 for the axe and for the shoes. I'm going to do the shoes first. And I'm using my C7. I'm taking the lid off because it's extremely juicy. I overfilled this one. So where the pants overlap, you're going to put in a nice shadow. And then I do a little bit of an indent. And that whole area where the laces are, I'm going in black, or C7. Because we're not going to get that involved with the shoes. Because I figure you need to pick like 1 or 2 things on your card that you do really well. And then the rest of it is just like gravy. So if you pick out, something you're good at, then you can kind of glaze over some of the other ones. Because let's face it, this is homemade, not Hallmark, and anybody that I'm giving a card to is not gonna like freak out. That doesn't mean that you want to do a bad job and that you don't want to act like the person doesn't care, like, you know, that you don't care about the person. It's just that who has like 4 hours to color an image? I mean, I guess maybe somebody does. So that was the C5. And we're going to use the C3. And I'm just going to close that up. And I'm really scrubbing that to get it to blend. And I'm going to go over the soles. And we can put some highlights in there if we want. Now for the axe. In reality, this part would be in shadow. And this, well, the whole thing would be in shadow. But if the light was coming this way, this area would be the darkest. However, you always have this area that's a little bit shiny. So we might bring in a C6 as well. All right. So let's start this way. We're going to do the C7. And I kind of left some areas open in the center. And I'm going to bring in the C6 now. Would help if I had the right end. And you can make this as shiny or lack thereof as you want. I think the last axe that Sean and I bought was like all black. So I think there's all different kinds out there. This is your C5. And I'm going to leave that as is. I'm going to take the same C5. And I'm going to kind of go right there with it. On the actual blade part, I'm going to use my C3. Kind of extending that a little bit. And now I'm going to use my C1. And be done with that. Now, I normally would use like the same color brown somewhere else in my card just for continuity of the card, but I think the hair is too red and I think the pants are too green. So we are going to use a whole nother set of colors because if you got them, you might as well use them. It's my theory anyway. All right. So we've got E59, 57, 55, and 53. We're doing really, really simple blends. We're not getting into complex blends today. If you want complex blends, then we would have to talk about that some other time. So I'm putting a shadow underneath his beard and underneath his ear. I'm also putting one all the way down this area. And then I'm going to take and put a line there. I'm going to put a line there. And from here, I'm going to put a line so it looks like wood grain. So he's going to have a shadow where the shirt is. He's going to have a shadow where the hand is over the wood. So I'm using the E59. And I'm going to put a shadow kind of here at the bottom. Because remember, the light's coming in this way, so that top area is going to be the brightest. And then I'm going to take some stripes in here just for wood grain. Gonna do the same thing here. Look at this hair. Ugh. Okay, so we're not doing anything like super crazy for wood. If you want like a super if you want a super advanced class on wood or coloring, then we would need to like schedule a class so we could sit down and on a smaller level and do it. But for lives, we need to make this so it's attainable for all skill levels. And I know that people don't have, again, hours to spend at a time on YouTube. Or maybe you do, I don't know, but I don't. When I was a brand new card maker, I spent a lot of time on YouTube. Man, I like digested everything I could about card making, and then I realized I used about a third of it. But I am so thankful for the creators that are out there that taught me the things that I know and the people that I took classes from. I mean, man, I would not be where I am now, and I sure as heck wouldn't have a company. So, don't think it's lost on me. And then I'm coming in with that E53. And I'm glazing over the entire part of the wood handle. And that just brightens it up. Amanda, hi honey. Oh, so cute. Love through the hair and wood grain. Yay. All right, so let's talk about these. So we put texture in the clothes. We did the eyes. We, added the 3 different colors. And right now he looks kind of like a, I don't know, a black-eyed ghoul. So I am using, I don't know if I'm going to use this. I'm trying to decide what I'm going to use tonight. Hang in there with me. Try to remember if I moved my markers to my toolbox. Sorry, it's loud. Okay, we're going to use my Karen marker Deco gel pen. So I always put it on my hand just to test it. So you'll see me do that a lot. So when you are looking at something, like if you're looking at a natural eye, the sparkle's in exactly the same spot in both eyes because the light's coming from the same place. So I am going to put a dot here. I'm going to do a smaller one there. I'm going to do the exact same thing. And do you see how that brought that eye to life? And then you can also do like a little line and be done. So I think that his buttons would have a little bit of shine. I also think that there would be a little bit more shine on the axe. So I'm going to put like a line and a couple dots. And then because I'm me, I like to put spots in the darkest places because it brings out dimension and depth in a one-dimensional thing. So this was our darkest area. So I kind of put it there. I think that he would have maybe a highlight here, like in the pocket. We could put some here in the where the laces are. I think he would have one on the top of his boot. And maybe here. I really like to put sparkles places, but I don't think this guy is a sparkly kind of guy. But we could do like one there. On the buckles. I think we could break up this spot on his little Superman curl. Let's just put a couple dots in there to break up that dark shadow. And maybe one right here on his ear, just a little bit. And I'm going to put one on the sleeve for good measure. And I don't think the other one needs it. But I think just adding a little bit of white always brings the picture to life. So now, if we remember where I put my card, this is like the third time I've lost it, right? We can put him kind of hanging over like that. And he is as cute as pie. And so we've got the doily. We've got the LumberJack colors. We've got slimline. And what else am I missing? Slimline, doily. Oh, and caps. We've got the snow caps. And so this is what I am going to submit for my craft roulette card. So I used some hillsides and I, die cut it in the same shape as this file piece so that it would have the same stitching, but this is just two pieces layered on top of each other. And then I thought the brown trees would be kind of fun over the mountains. So let's pop him up on some foam tape and we will call him done. Amanda says I'm the queen of white highlights. I don't know if that's true. I just think it's a lot of trial and error. Lots of error. So I am just using some foam tape as needed. If I need to grab more, I will. I normally have a couple pieces like kind of stored on my desk hanging off, but I just cleaned my desk, so I use like alcohol and really like wipe down all the sticky where all the tape and all that stuff was. So I really don't have a lot of excess stuff going on my desk right now. Kind of cool, kind of nice. My whole craft room is kind of semi put together, and it just makes working easy because I am actually prepping for Scrapbook Expo. I need to get my samples in. Tomorrow is like the last day for all the instructions. And yeah, I'm in the process of taking those pictures and writing those instructions. So my desk and stuff is relatively clean, except for the markers that I just used tonight because I have to have access to my keyboard. I used to have a second computer here in my craft room, but I got a new toy that I'm not ready to talk about yet for Christmas. I will, once I've decided if I like it and I know how to use it, then we'll talk more about it. But it was an expensive toy that I invested in, and we are actually still putting it together. That was supposed to be on the list today, but my husband put in new spark plugs on my car because my car, it's so funny. We bought a new car so I could take it to shows and stuff because it was bigger. And I didn't trade in my car because I love my little car. And if you know, you know. But then it started like bogging down like 2 days later and it's not happy. So he changed the spark plugs thinking it was the spark plugs. It really did act that way. But I don't think it's the spark plugs because it's still acting up. So we are waiting for a code reader to come in so that we can decide what's wrong with my car. But my little car is like my little like my bestie. I love her to death. I mean, she's silly, she's juvenile, but for whatever reason she makes me happy. And you're all gonna wonder what it is. It's a Kia Soul. But for some reason, my little hamster mobile makes my heart just skip a beat. And it has since the day I bought it. And I'm not getting rid of her. So you all know that I'm crazy. And that's that. So what do you think? Sorry I was off camera for some of that. Trying to get that positioned. So sorry. Let's see. Does he need bling or does he need any more hearts? Let's see. Do we need more hearts? I think I have some cut. Do we like that? I don't think I do. I like that smaller one. So let's get my glue. Got it in my handy dandy glue holder. Holds it upside down, keeps everything from falling out. Although you probably just saw me pull the pin out. I always keep my pin in because it's just habit. But you don't have to. Leave him alone. What's everybody saying? Love the result. Okay, so now my desk is covered. I know. Oh, look, do we have another little tiny red heart? Do we need another one? We have. Yeah, we need him. We need him up here. So I mean, basically, I have these hearts that are from Hero Arts. Actually, they're like a nesting die that I got from Joann's years ago, and I'm using those as my bling. You could always use more bling if you wanted to, but this is my craft roulette card, and it's also my video for tonight. I'm so excited, you guys. I've done 2 lives. I did one on Sunday. I did it on Friday, and did one today. And I'm going to do one at 9 o'clock on Wednesday. It seems like 9 o'clock, to me it seems a little late, but it seems like that our people out west could watch too. So that's all I've got. If you have any questions, you let me know. All the products are linked in the description box. I use the LumberJack bundle, and the Would You Be Mine is part of that stamp set. I use the scallop circle die, which is my favorite die in our store, and I use some dies from my stash.